What's up, Ellen?
Hi, how are you?
I'm remarkable. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to get some of your advice today.
Awesome. What's up?
So I have a really great friend, a best friend that I've had for 25 years now. We met in our early 20s, and you can imagine the 25 years from being 22 to mid 40s, the life that we've kind of navigated together. And she's, just more like a sister to me for sure. So a couple of years ago, she came to me with some pretty shocking information on some things that were happening in her marriage. And we kind of talked a lot about that. I was pretty honest with her that these things were deal breakers.
What were they?
Well, I don't think I'm going to divulge the things,
Okay.
There were things told to me in confidence, and I hate to put that out there, but I hope that you can trust that these things were deal breakers.
Okay. Really, really bad stuff.
There was some bad stuff.
Okay.
So she,
Safety issue stuff?
I think that, I would consider some
Great.
safety
Okay.
issue stuff.
That helps me frame it. Okay, cool.
Okay. So she left him, she divorced him, sold their house, and moved into a place of her own. And I was just with her through that whole thing. It was just walking with her through that storm. So then, I don't know, about 6 months or 8 months passed, and she came back to me and let me know that they were kind of getting back together again. She's been seeing him again, and we have a really honest relationship. I told her that I, didn't really agree with that, and reminded her of all the things that had happened. And this kind of happened back and forth over the next 6 months, where she would get back together with them and then decide to break it off again. Well, fast forward to the beginning of this year, she let me know that she's decided to get back together with them. They're going to spend the rest of their lives together, and she moved back in with him. And I'm just not in agreement with this. But the question's not about her. The question's kind of about me and how to navigate this new chapter in our friendship. This is the first time we haven't been on the same page of something pretty damn big. And I feel like I don't know how to navigate it.
It sounds like the challenge with navigating this is I'm probably oversimplifying it here, but she chose him.
Yeah.
And so you put a stake in the ground, and you always have been unified with this particular person, which I think is amazing, on the stakes in the ground. And this time you put a stake in the ground, you put a boundary up, and she said, "Yeah, I'm going to go this way. I wish you the best."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is tragic and hard. And it's a quarter of a century of a friendship.
Yeah.
And I think there is the joy and celebration of what was. And then there's the heartbreak and grief of what is.
Yeah.
And I think you probably love her enough to say, I absolutely wish you the best. And I'll be here if things go sideways.
Yeah.
And if I were you, I would weep and weep and weep.
Yeah. Oh, those tears have flowed.
Yeah. And maybe there's a world, and again, I'm making something up here, okay? If you've listened to this show for any period of time, I'm big on redemption.
Mm-hmm.
So I live in this tension of owning reality, choosing reality. And I think as a culture, we do that not well. Individually and as a culture, we do it terribly. There's no such thing as truth anymore. It's nonsense. And I believe deeply in redemption. I've just seen it over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
People change.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe there's a scenario where this man has the courage to call you and sit down and say, "I did this to your friend, and I'm sorry. And I've changed. And I know I've got to reprove myself to you and to her and to everybody. I'm going to ask you to be patient with me, and just know, I know if you can't even be in the room with me, I get it." Somebody did that. That is somebody who said, I was a serial cheater. I was abusive. I yelled a lot. I didn't show up. I struggled with addiction, whatever. And that person says, I am making amends, as they do in the 12 steps. I'm going person by person to the people I hurt. And it's not just the direct people I hurt, because there's radial blasts to this type of pain. Maybe. Yeah. But that's his move to make.
Yeah, and that scares me a little bit. Like, I'm not ready. I'm not sure I'm ready for him to come to me with that.
Great.
You know,
that's your choice. You get to choose that. But that may cost you time with your friend. And that's okay.
So, can I ask one more question?
You ask anything, sure.
As I'm like taking this in and kind of trying to come up with a roadmap of what this looks like.
Oh, sweetheart, the roadmap. Your friend threw it away. There's not a map.
But I want there to be a map.
I know. You are out in the bay, and there's no moon, and the sun is down, right. And you have a flashlight.
Right. And
you can see 6 feet in front of you, and you're just going to keep going that way. There's not a map.
Okay. Obviously, I mean, this is someone that, I'm going to continue seeing my friend, and what kind of boundaries, I guess, or what kind of expectations, I think that's the better word, can I put around interaction with him? Because I don't care to have any, to be honest with you, but I
think you love her and tell her directly.
You think what?
I think you love her and tell her directly, and then she gets to make a grown-up choice. Like, hey, I'd love to spend time with you. Like, I want us to keep doing our regular Wednesday morning whatevers. I'm not comfortable being around him.
Okay.
And if she says, well, we're back together, and if you're going to be friends with me, you're going to be friends with him, you could say, nah, I wish you the best.
Yeah.
And that's her walking away.
Okay.
And that's okay. It's heartbreaking and sad, but it's just, again, we're sitting in the most uncomfortable place, which is reality.
Yeah.
Do you think she's going to do that?
She won't walk away.
Okay. Because what happens sometimes in these moments is people are unsure of what's worse, loneliness or a partner who's hurt them in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go back. And we have to have an enemy to get us to move. We have to have something that we're against. As a culture, we're terrible about moving forward towards things. Look at our political, no one's given a roadmap to where we're going. We're all just like, well, that guy sucks. And the other guy's like, well, my position is that guy's the worst. Mm-hmm. And so often people go back into dangerous situations or unsafe situations or situations that have hurt them in the past, and they have to have an enemy. And so I would beware of you becoming that person. And that may end up with you smiling and saying, honey, I'm not fighting you, and I love you, and I'll love you to the end of time.
Right.
I can't be around so-and-so because of X, Y, and Z. I still got blood on me from the time I picked you up.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I love you, and I'll always love you.
Yep.
And I'll love you now if this thing works out and y'all live happily ever after. And I'll be here if this thing goes south again. And I'll be the first call. I'll come pick you up.
Yep.
But I can't be around that guy. And then she gets to make a grown-up decision.
Okay.
I wish there was like a just do this and this. Here's the chess move. It just doesn't work like that.
And I want to go back. It's impossible to go back. I want it back the way it was, and it's not. It can't be. And so it's
I know. Okay, let me ask you a hard question.
Okay.
Who's going to become that safe person for you now?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's your work.
Yeah. Okay.
It might be finding 2 or 3 other women in your life. And it's one of those rare things that you only have a few opportunities to have 25 or 30-year friendships, right?
Right. Yep.
And how old are you now?
45.
Yeah, dude. You've got time to have a couple of 45-year-old friendships that you start today, which sounds weird. And I think I've mentioned this recently on the show. I don't remember. But I got a couple of friends that were, when I say ride or die, were like, I trusted with everything.
Yeah.
We don't talk anymore. We don't. Haven't had contact with them in several years. And part of me, my heart's broken.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me has some relief because we grew to be very, very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me is really grateful for the time we had.
Yeah.
And then I have to decide what kind of day I want to have today and tomorrow because I can't go back and do anything differently in the past. But there's no like I break up with you like there's in romantic relationships with friends, and it's so hard, man.
It is. I know. God, and the thought of meeting new people is just.
I know it's the worst.
I'll do it. But
Ellen,
it's the best, but it's just hard.
No, it's not the best. Anyone who says that, you need to go see a psychiatrist. It's not. It's the worst. It's the worst. And I'll tell you. Man, I've made some friends at 35, 40. They're amazing. Amazing people.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Some people I met at 40 have become number one of who would take my kids if we died. Me and my wife passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have seen that coming.
No.
In a million years. And we vacation together. Do you know what I don't do? Vacation together. I don't shower every day and I don't vacation with other people. Now I do both of those things, right? Like we change.
Yeah.
And it's a moment of like grief, and it's a moment of what comes next, and it's a moment of optimism and joy, and it's a moment of sadness. It's a moment of all of it. And I will just make a choice because I get to make up whatever story comes next. I get to make up a story that she's going to get back into an awful relationship. This guy's terrible, and it's all going to end in fire and flames. I can make that story up, and it'll get my cortisol and adrenaline pumping, and it'll get me all fired up and make me feel powerful and indignant. I can make that story up. I can also make up a story where this guy went and did a lot of work, and he changed his life. And there's been that flame of love and connection never went out, despite the harm that was done. And man, he's put the work in. And he doesn't have to be for you. So maybe this thing lives happily ever after. I get to make up that story. So I'm going to choose that story. And then the question you have to ask yourself is, all right, what's going to be next? I got to go meet new people. I got to go to the softball league. I got to go bowling. I got to, whatever it is, have a book club. Whew. And then if you're like me, you get lucky. And you keep showing up and you keep showing up. And last night I was in a room with 7 other guys that I did not know. I didn't know them 5 years ago. And we were playing music together until we had to stop. It was a blast. It was a blast. We weren't great, but it was a blast. You're worth the friends you've had, and you're worth the friends that you're moving on to, and you're worth your values. And sometimes those things clash. Thank you so much for the call, Ellen. I know there are literally millions of people that are right where you are. We grieve it and we celebrate it. It's all of it, both and. And then we pick up the phone and say, hey, you want to go get some coffee? You want to go fishing? Let's go hang out. And we take that next wobbly right step. Thanks for the call, Ellen.